Hi, welcome to TCG Beaker. Today I'll be going over some data to show you why One Piece is definitely a rich man's game. And if you want to get into One Piece singles, your cost of admission is probably going to be $750. So with that being said, here's the data of why I think so. And if you look here, it's pretty interesting in that what I have are all of the sets, including promo cards. Okay, so promo cards are right here. Okay, all of the sets that have been released so far from One Piece, including the promo cards. And what I did was I actually captured the price from December 24th, and then I compared it to today's price, 1230. And so you're going to see the change from 1224 right here in this column. So the key things to note is that in total, if you actually took every single card from One Piece, took the market price that's available throughout the platforms, and you summed them up, you added them together, on 1224, you would have gotten 158,000. On 1230, it was 163,000, which means that it grew $5,402.73 over the span of almost a week, right? 6 days. Not only that, but if you see, there is a total of 2,936 cards in the entire population. That includes alt cards, parallel alt cards, all that stuff. These are the numbers. How did it grow $5,402? And we'll go into the numbers a little bit more, but the biggest number that came from it is this one card called When You're at Sea, You Fight Against Pirates. It was a finals textured foil. It's a promo card, and it popped in very, very recently. It popped in around the 1226, 1228 time frame, and so it was a new card. You'll see that it is 1,399. If you actually look at some of the sales, they actually sold one. Okay, so this is actually a recent sale that happened on 1228 for 1,400 bucks. One sale, literally it happened, so it gets counted in the data, market price, whatever you want to call it, it's in there. For the sake of our discussion though, because this one card skews the data so much, I'm going to just give the benefit of the doubt, take it out. But what you're going to see is the numbers are still really extreme. Even when I take out this single card, this is what the market looked like from a span of just 6 days. It increased from promo cards $2,400, even with the 1,300 removed. That means that promo cards accounted for more than half of the growth of the One Piece ecosystem. Some interesting things about the data. You'll see that Emperors in the New World and the promo cards account for more than half. Promo cards already accounted for half of the growth during this time period, but if you add in Emperors in the New World, it becomes around 75% to like 80%. So if you're familiar with the Pareto principle, 80-20, the Emperors in the New World and the promo cards, when combined, they account for 80% of the growth from 1224 to 1230. All the other sets here, they were all positive, which is pretty cool, but it was nowhere near what happened here. So that's the first thing to understand, is that out of all of these cards, I already took out the biggest outlier, which was the $1,400 promo card that just came out of nowhere. Now let's look at cards that were $250 or less. You're going to see promo cards up top at $667 of value increase from those 6 days. And then Emperors in the New World actually drops to the bottom. It went down 40 bucks, $41 about. In total, when you take all of the cards that were $250 or less, it increased the value of the entire One Piece ecosystem by $715.46 based on just singles alone. And notice how that's now 2,802 cards. When I take this up a notch to $250 or more, see how promo cards comes back, and then Emperors in the New World, it comes back as well, right? And we see the same pattern now. We see now in total, it's about $2,500 for those two sets for a total increase, $3,287. What this data is telling me right now, if I want to have a chance at getting the most growth, if I buy a single, I have to buy at least a card that's more than $250. And you'll notice now, the difficulty is that there's fewer and fewer cards here. Only 133 based on the data. To really help you understand how it's driven by these high cards, here's a table of all cards which are more than $750. Notice how there's only 49 cards now. We have promo cards and Emperors in the New World up top in terms of how much value was added between the 6 days. But notice that you have to buy cards that are worth $750 or more in order to partake of $2,044. The cards that drove a lot of the growth the past 6 days, remember, there was $4,000 in growth, okay, over 6 days. What this is saying is that only cards that were more than $750 drove $2,044 of that change. That's more than 50%. Only cards that were above $750 drove more than 50% of the growth One Piece ecosystem in 6 days. What's crazy is that 49 cards account for 50% of the profits, and then 2,886 cards account for the other 50% of the profits. And remember, these 49 cards here, they were $750 and above. It doesn't mean that every card is 750. There are some that are 1,000. There are some that were 900, but it's only 49 cards. The rest of these cards, 2,886 cards, they accounted for the rest of the profits in the past 6 days of the One Piece ecosystem. Takeaways. The first one, things are very skewed in this market. They trend towards the top end of the numbers. So you're looking at having to spend around $750 probably for, a slice of any appreciation in the future. Okay, because if these numbers keep up, it means that half of the appreciation and value is going to go towards those upper cards. That's what it means. If this data holds out, that's what it's going to look like. The other thing that you're going to notice, a lot of the growth was in promo cards. Because remember, in every single slide that I showed, no matter how I spliced and cut the data, the promo was always on top. They were number one when it came to the value that was added over the past 6 days. But it's really illiquid. You'll find that they're very unique because they don't have a lot of supply. And so that really leads towards a lot of skewing of the data because it's really tough to get a good gauge of just how much a card is worth when there's so little supply out there. And so here's some examples of what I mean. So here I have the Zoro Juro CS 25 to 26 event pack, One Piece promotion card. You'll notice it's $255. However, if you look deeper into it, it's kind of odd. This promo card has existed for a while at least. So when I look at the actual price here, it says 156. But when you actually look at what's available, it's 255 right now. Okay, this is what I mean by supply is tough. Why is there such a big discrepancy? Because if you look at the actual sale history from this, you'll see that someone or a group of people or people in general have been purchasing this thing like crazy. 12/17, see someone buy two, you see more sales, more, to eventually become to the point where there's so little supply that it gets sold for $277. Keep in mind that there's actually a fair amount that were sold over time, right? According to here, a total of 97 were sold. So that's a very, very small supply. When we look at another promo card, like this one, Nico Olivia, regional finalist. Notice how it's $100 right now. But also notice how, while it's going up in price, it's not as robust when it comes to the volume as the Zoro was. Okay, there's just not as many out there. You'll see right now it's at 100. Next one is 150. So I mean, if someone wants to buy, hey, it's an opportunity. But you can see what happens if you look at the data too. Let's say people in general have been purchasing this so much that the price is getting to the point where it's $100. Not only that, but soon this is probably going to get to 150. But the question is, will somebody buy this higher than what you purchase at this point? And that's just the thing I want to call out. Promo cards have very, very small supply. And so there could be a demand for those promo cards in the future, but it may not be as robust as people think. You just should be cautious when buying promo cards because low supply does not always mean that there's going to be enough demand to justify a cost like this. Hopefully the data here was kind of insightful, gives you an idea that a small amount of cards, just 49 cards worth $750 or more, right? Each one is $750 or more. That is what drove more than half of the value of the market. And that's with me even taking out one single promo card that got added in at $1,400. And so One Piece is definitely a rich man's game at this point. With that, hopefully it was insightful, just seeing all the data. I definitely have more information to share as I was splicing the data. Probably moved into sealed products as well, just to really see how everything plays out there. Yeah, please like and subscribe. Hopefully this was helpful, and have a great day.